Namaste and good morning, everyone. We'll start our class with the prayers. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now 3 times Mahamrutyunjaya mantra for everyone, praying for everyone who is in the suffering. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Eva Bandhanan Mrutyurmukshiyamamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Eva Bandhanan Mrutyurmukshiyamamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Eva Bandhanan Mrutyurmukshiyamamrutat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We'll do the Rama prayer. And I will chant one line and you repeat after me. Ramo Rajamanihi Sada Vijayate Ramam Ramesham Bhaje. Ramena Bhihata Nishachara Chamu Ramaya Tasmai Namaha. Ramanasti Parayanam Parataram Ramasya Dasosmyaham. Rame Chittalayah Sada Bhavatu Me. Bho Rama Mamuddhara. Welcome everyone. We are having our concluding class, the last class of this course, Sanskrit Course for Beginners. We have come a long way from the time we started 5 weeks ago. And the way this course started, I told you that story in the first class, that first there was a plan to have this class just locally in homestead ashram. There were some Kriyavans locally who were interested. Group of less than 20 for sure. And I was quite willing to have a physical classroom kind of class. And then because of coronavirus crisis, it wasn't possible to have the physical class. They suggested online. And in online class, then of course there is no limit for a location. So we opened it globally. There was a tremendous interest. About 700 people registered for the class. And we decided on this content for a 5-week course. First, we were thinking to have it every day, 6 days a week. And then soon it was very apparent that it would be too much. And we changed it to 3 days a week. Even then, I know some of you are finding it a little bit too much. But for most of you, or many of you at least, I know that you are quite up to the course in terms of exercise and the learning, and you are really enjoying the space. For those who are a little bit behind, it's really not a matter to worry, because there is all the class recordings and the other material which we are posting, on the repository. So it's all available there. So when this class started, it was my first time I wanted to have, I had to have this online class. So I really did not know how will it go, how the interaction with the participants will happen, how many will stay till the end, how sincere, what kind of profile they would be having. Some would have the knowledge of some Sanskrit, some would have no knowledge whatsoever of the script or Sanskrit. Physical interaction would be impossible. Even through the chat, only a limited interaction would be possible. So once I realized the scope and the number of participants and being it online class, I understood that the work which I have to put in would be much more than I would actually have to put in for a physical classroom class. So I requested here one Yogacharya Amit Baba from Seattle, that Baba, can you take the class notes and then prepare in such a manner that it would be useful for everybody, and then we can post those class notes onto our repository. And he graciously agreed. Amit Baba, just to let you know, he is a gold medalist from one of the top universities of India. And in his student days, he was quite famous for taking very, very detailed and very meticulous notes, to the extent that many students in the class were relying on his notes. And they were giving, at that time, the photocopy was not so easy and cheap. So they were giving him the carbon paper to put under his notes so that multiple copies could be prepared. So, and his structure and the details in the notes, they are just amazing. So Amit Baba graciously agreed. And of course, there is a difference between preparing the notes for oneself and preparing the notes for the whole class. I know he has to work many extra hours in order to put those class notes in the shape for the whole class. So we have these class notes ready, and this is such a wonderful resource. I'm not sure how many of you are taking advantage of it. But yesterday I received a call from one of the participants, in the class. And he told me, Baba, first time I'm looking at the class notes. I have not looked at it yet. And these are such a wonderful resource that I was able to revise 4 classes in just a couple of hours. So this is something that you have attended. If you have already attended the classes, you really don't have to watch the video again, the whole video, even though it's there. You can just go through those class notes. and you will get pretty much everything, and sometimes a little bit better structured in the class notes. And sometimes when I'm realizing that I have not made a particular point very clear in the class, or there was some mistake, I'm rectifying that in the class notes. So, but please understand, these class notes are from the perspective of Amit Baba, who is also a student of this class, not from the perspective of the teacher as me. I have taken the care here to make sure that all the details regarding the Sanskrit part is correct. But because it's the it is from the perspective of a student in the class, it has some interesting tidbits here and there. I hope you would enjoy those. So please take advantage of these class notes. And if you find there is any mistake or anything which you are finding it difficult to understand, let us know, we would make the corrections. It's much easier to make a modification in the class notes than in the video file. Then after this online classes were decided, I actually realized that because physical interaction won't be possible and there are so many students, how do we make sure that we are able to get to you? So I requested Brahmachari Ben Baba here. And earlier it seemed like there would be a class for 500 plus students. And I requested him, we'll create this email address. Can you please check all the emails which would be coming? Of course, it would be a daunting task to check the emails from 500. So we decided that we'll focus on the questions first, and then we'll see whatever time permits us to check the exercise submission and respond to those emails accordingly. So Ben Baba has been a great help, very important contribution for this class. He checked those thousands of emails which are coming from you, all of you, and he responded to some, and whatever the questions were meant for, which would be beneficial for the whole class, he identified those and then forwarded to me so that I can discuss. So the questions which you found me earlier discussing in the class notes, Ben Baba segregated those emails and then forwarded those to me. So please keep sending those questions, but very important contribution from Ben Baba to make this class very effective. And he is also a student, of course, of the class also. Then Swami Tapasyananji, he helped me to put together some exercise solutions in a very beautiful format. So some of the Sandhi solutions which you saw here, which are really detailed, for example, here. And he actually makes sure that he is putting the Visarga Sandhi type, both in Devanagari and in transliteration, and giving also Gita reference. So this is a very valuable resource, all the exercises and solutions. You will not, I'm very good in searching for the resources on the web, and Sanskrit has a lot of resources, but I have not found such kind of structured exercises along with the solutions. So very important and very valuable resource for you. Now, despite all this help, you would be quite surprised to know that I had to put in at least 6 to 8 times number of hours what I would do for the physical class. So on my part, it has been a very, very intense experience to take this online class. But ultimately, as we are concluding, I'm quite happy looking at the way this class has gone, looking at your enthusiasm. And I know that in physical class, most of you would feel more comfortable. And in online, there's a little bit of more responsibility on your side also to learn. So from that perspective, I really appreciate all of you. It has been an amazing thing to see so much enthusiasm. I receive a lot of emails, some people call also, to see so much enthusiasm in all of you to learn this divine language. And please continue to do so. We'll have this material available. Except the class videos, which I will not be editing. Maybe there's one file which got disturbed, video 5. I may redo it later on. But other class notes and other study material I may modify depending upon if some of you report. So whenever you work on it, just make sure that you, after a week or 10 days, just download the latest class notes and other study material. These files are really small, so they will not be very heavy on your bandwidth. So all this material, and I was also checking actually some of the university courses in USA, and whatever I actually could figure out, that whatever we have covered in these last 5 weeks in our course for beginners, if you were to join a university here and register, enrolled in a proper Sanskrit course in a university in USA, it would have taken 8 to 10 weeks for you to cover this much detail. And I'm sure that they will not prepare the class notes for you, and they will not prepare these detailed exercises for you. So from all that perspective, actually, I'm quite satisfied the way this class has come so far. And it has turned out to be a great repository for all the things which we have done. So please continue to keep up. You can, those of you who are behind on exercises, continue to solve those exercises. Send us the questions. We will still keep that email open. We'll keep responding to those questions. Now I would also have a little bit more time to respond to some questions on email. Plus, as I told you earlier, I would be taking a class on May 11th. That is 10 days from now, Monday, same time, 9 o'clock Eastern time. Monday 11th. So that would be an extra class just for questions and answers. If you send the questions beforehand in the email, I'll take those questions and discuss those questions in the class. Of course, you will also have the opportunity at that time itself to ask the questions in the chat window. So, and as I told you, that when you are sending these solutions, exercise solutions, make sure that you please check first what the solution is, so that you know where you make the mistake, whether it's simply a spelling mistake, whether it's a conceptual mistake. And if you have any questions that how did the solution come about, which I could not get to on my own, then you can ask some questions which will really help you, instead of simply submitting the exercise and be telling you that these are the spelling mistakes and other things. So please check the solutions, and then you can send the questions to us. That will help you learn better. So today, my plan is to show you a few things, and then we wrap up the coursework. So one thing which I have actually put together in the other study material is useful links here. So one is the Sanskrit tool. This is for typing the Devanagari, as you probably know, those of you who are using the computer. So you can use the iTrans format, and then you can generate the Devanagari or IEST, both format. There are many other tools available of similar kind. I just gave you reference of one. Some people have asked that, is it possible to type Devanagari directly in the Word, Microsoft Word, for example? It is. There are many solutions, and one of them is Varaha. I'll update some link for that. And that there are paid software and free softwares, but they have their own issues actually. So I wasn't sure, but this one is pretty neat and clean, and I just wanted to recommend you this tool. Then fonts for Sanskrit. There are some inbuilt fonts in Microsoft Windows. But these two fonts are pretty good rendering fonts for Devanagari and transliteration. So I have included them here, including the links where you can download them from. But even if you don't have these fonts, there are default fonts on Windows by which you can read Devanagari. Then learning the Devanagari script, it has been a big issue. Of course, for this course, we decided that Devanagari script will not be a requirement. That means you don't have to have any knowledge of Devanagari in order to attend this course. But as we are planning to offer a level 2 course, Devanagari would be the script in which that course would be offered, simply because some of the books and study material, they are in Devanagari only. So many of you have showed the concern that you are interested in joining course level 2, but Devanagari could be a hindrance. So I have found a few sites and tools. And one of the better ones I liked here is duolingo.com. It is a Duolingo app. It's an app which you can download on your cell phone. And it's a language learning app, actually, very popular language learning app. You can learn any language, pretty much. They offer a huge repository of languages you can learn. And one of them is Hindi, which uses the same script as Sanskrit, Devanagari. So then you can choose the letters. There is a specific topic. So they actually show you a shape, and then you can say that whether the shape is what is the correct option. That is a very good way to actually learn. Plus there are some others. So this is another site. These are the site for the books, and this is another site for learning Devanagari. So just see whatever suits you. It's really not so difficult. And I was talking about Ben Baba here. He actually did not use any of the tools, but he decided that he wanted to learn Sanskrit the right way and using Devanagari script. And he was just able to, just by practice, just by pen and paper, he learned Devanagari so well that now he actually helped me in typing some of the Devanagari which you are seeing in the exercises. And hardly any mistakes now. He can type like pages and like 1 or 2 mistakes here and there, which are possible pretty much for anyone. So it's really not so difficult to learn Devanagari script. And if you were to join here a course on Sanskrit in any university here, they will teach you in Devanagari. They will not teach you in transliteration. Some of them would assume that that would be something that you would learn on your own. They will not even help you in learning Devanagari much. So this is the Devanagari script. If you are interested, you can learn using it. And remember, our primary requirement is to read for level 2 course, not to write, because for writing you can use computer. So you can learn Devanagari script from these tools. Then there is another site which I showed you, which I put here for learning Sanskrit letters pronunciation. So please use this site if you are not sure how to pronounce these letters. Then there are certain sites which are for learning Sanskrit. So like more resources. So if you want to go deeper, you can learn from these websites more concepts. If you don't have a book or are not very willing to learn from the book, then you can go to these sites. I like these sites. There are many. Internet is full of Sanskrit learning resources. In fact, my own learning has been for past many years with the resources and the books which are available online. One of the sites I want to take you, and that is this website. I'll just increase the font size here. And one of the links here is declension tables. What somebody has put together this beautiful document, and somebody has actually taken all these declension tables we have been discussing. It is in Devanagari right now. So if some of you want to put together into IAST, I can post it on our repository. So in one page, there are like 15 tables, and then he has put one for the pronouns, and then for the verb forms in all the 4 lakaras, which I told you they are easy to make. So this is a very beautiful resource I found, just like in cheat sheet kind of thing. If you don't know Devanagari, you can see if you can put together something like that to somebody who knows Devanagari and they are willing to do it in IAST. Then, as I said, I can put it on the drive. Otherwise, it can also be a training ground for you who do not know Devanagari to learn Devanagari. So you look at this form, try to write in IAST, and then check, because most of these forms which we have discussed, they are available in the book, Egenes book, as well as we have put also in our repository the files for this. But this format I really liked, so I just wanted to share. Then Panini Ashtadhyayi and Dhatu Patha, these are like, some people were interested. These are for very advanced classes. Most of you will not be using this, except only one link, and that is this Sanskrit verbal roots with English meaning. So there is a link which has all the roots with English meaning. So, and they are sorted in the alphabetical order, English alphabetical order actually. And anytime you want to know what is the meaning of a root, just simply, because sometimes looking in the dictionary is a bit cumbersome, I'll cover how to check dictionary in this class, but these are the roots actually. So this is a nice link for checking all the roots. So this has all the roots actually. Then dictionary. So dictionary in Sanskrit is quite a task actually. It's not so straightforward as you would have the dictionary in English, for example. Just to see the dictionary of Sanskrit and look at a page, it's a little bit terrifying, I should say. It's just the size of the dictionary is so huge, and the details are so many. The font size they use is so small. It's not very easy. And I told you that you do not see those words in dictionary what you find in the text. So that is another problem. So if you say gacchati in the text, you will not find the entry for gacchati. You will find entry for gum, which is the root. So in order to see dictionary, you have to have certain grammar background for yourself. And then similarly in the nouns, you do not see the, say for example, Ramasya, the genitive singular. You will not see the entry for Ramasya. You will see the entry for Rama, for example. So I have put together these 3 websites for checking Sanskrit dictionary. I'll just show you that how does it work. This Sanskrit website, dictionary website, is the most comprehensive one I have found. When I say most comprehensive, so it supports all the 3 formats which we discussed: IAST, iTrans, Devanagari. So let's say iTrans. It's easy to type. And if I say word gum, and always put in the quote marks, because it otherwise search as everything in the. So gum is the root we search for. So if you search for gum, so first it shows you that it is a root from Panini Dhatu Patha, and it tells you the meaning, and it tells you the page on which this root is found in the dictionary. It also tells you the class. I told you, remember, roots are divided into 10 classes. So it tells you class 1. And then this dictionary, which is called Monier-Williams, one of the very popular dictionaries in English, Sanskrit English. The dictionary is quite good. It has a lot of details, but it can be quite overwhelming for a beginner. So just see on your own thing that so this is the what he has done for the gum entry, as you can see. So many things he has given. So he is starting in Vedic. How is it used? So the form is gamati. We are not concerned about that, but I'm just telling you that so many details are there. He says that class 1 parasmaipadi root. Then he tells what is the subjunctive case form, what is the potential case form, what is the infinitive mood case form, and so on. So this is a very good website for, but it's not necessarily for, I mean, if you might find it overwhelming. Then this is another beautiful dictionary called Apte. Here the entries are in Devanagari, but the meaning is in English. So gum, and then he gives you all the gachati, I was telling you the third person singular form, gachati, and then he tells you the meanings: to go, move in general, that is the meaning, to go. If you know Devanagari, this is better option, at least for the beginners, than Monier-Williams. But there is another site I found actually which lets you see the Apte dictionary, just the simple meanings. So that, like this site, and I have put the links as I showed you. So here if you say gum and search for it, it strips all the other details. It simply gives you the meaning. So, and it is in the, it doesn't use Devanagari font. So it tells you that gachati is the form, the third person singular. It is the root from class 1, parasmaipadi, and these are the meaning. So this might be more beneficial for you in the starting, and once you get more comfortable, then you can check other dictionary sites. Similarly, there is another dictionary site for, you can explore this site yourself, but I would suggest that you can use Apte dictionary for beginning this particular middle site. This just strips of all the details and just gives you the simple meanings. Then we are using this Sanskrit books in our coursework. This has been a big help for us to utilize these books. Thomas Egenes, beautiful book for beginners. We will continue studying this book for our level 2 course also, the part 2. Part 1, actually, if you look at, there are total 18 lessons, and we have covered today, including today's, it will be 15 will be covered. So we have pretty much covered the whole book. Only 3 more lessons, and some of the details I have covered among those lessons. Some I have not. So fairly, like I would say, 90%, 80 to 90% of the book we have covered. So make use of this learning. It's any book which you study, that is always a great source to have. So if you can buy these books, please buy. Even if you are not planning to attend level 2 class, it's simply because once you have studied a book, it's always good to keep it in the collection. Thomas Egenes books also gives you a lot of vocabulary and lot of tables in the appendix. So check appendix of both the books. It has a lot of tables of all the verb forms, nominal forms, sandhi rules. Good reference resource he has given. Plus, he has also given glossary of both English Sanskrit and Sanskrit English. Then these are just a few websites related to Bhagavad Gita. Some of them you have already been using, and you can explore them further. So I just put together a few sites which are useful from Sanskrit perspective also related to Bhagavad Gita. So this is text, original Sanskrit text. This is text with split words and Anvaya. Anvaya means the poem, because Bhagavad Gita is in poetry form, it has been put in the textual form. Word meanings in a list form. Then this site has the Gita audio, translations and multiple commentaries. And all these sites can be viewed in any script, Devanagari or transliteration. Then this particular site, as you know, Gita grammatical analysis, we have used this site a few times in our exercise. Very valuable resource for learning Bhagavad Gita from a grammar and Sanskrit grammar perspective. Then there are certain sites which allow you to generate and analyze the various Sanskrit structures, including verbal and nominal forms. So if you go here, this is a website from somebody in France. So there is a reference manual for learning how to use the various facility. You can study that and see how can you learn. But I just want to quickly show you that there are some tools which are really neat here. So Sanskrit linguistic resource page. And it's a lot of computer kind of background which he actually talks about. But if you go to grammar here, he actually he will generate the declensions for you. So if you say, for example, Rama, and he doesn't support, okay, he doesn't support the, so we will say Hari, for example, Hari in IAST script. You have to say gender masculine. Output you can choose either Roman or Devanagari. So let's say Roman, and it gives you the form of Hari. So I do not know the accuracy. I hope it is all accurate, but good resource. Similarly, you can generate the verb form also. So, and there are other tools like related to Sandhi, related to reader, lot of good tools on this website. This is available both in Devanagari and transliteration. There is another site which is only available in Devanagari, Samsadhani. This is from University of Hyderabad in India. They have done some wonderful job. Lot of PhD they do in Sanskrit, and they create these kind of resources whereby you can analyze a particular form. They can generate the noun, verb forms, and some other things. So those who are comfortable in Devanagari, because this site is only Devanagari, supports Devanagari, you can also see this site. I have also put a site here for deriving the English words from Sanskrit. So I told you that Sanskrit, English, and most of the European languages, they belong to one family called Indo-European languages. And Sanskrit, some scholars believe that there was another language precursor to Sanskrit and all these languages. Some people believe that Sanskrit is the language from which all these other languages have evolved. Whatever the thing is, you will find a lot of similarity between Sanskrit words and the words in European languages. And somebody has compiled that how they are derived from Sanskrit origin. So just put together two websites for you. If you are interested, you can learn, you can read these things. If I find any other website useful, I'll update the link. But right now it is pretty good resource for you to have. And in this folder, I'm sure that you might have already explored, but we have a verb conjugation table where all the verb conjugations are there, nominal declensions are there, whatever we covered in the class, and pronouns tables are there. I have also put the presentation, the whole presentation, Bhagavad Gita text with English translation, and prayers for the class, which we do. So this repository will provide you some nice reference resources. Many of you have sent the questions or comments. Let me just read them to make sure that. Somebody is commenting, all the incredible materials included are just amazing. This is just amazing. Thank you. If one would like to learn to write Devanagari, is it written on lines like in the Roman alphabet? Yes, but Devanagari has a top line, and you have to see actually. And I have provided these resources, they will help you. There are a lot of YouTube videos, lot of resources on Devanagari learning, but I found a few useful which I have included here. Is Devanagari read left to right? Yes, in the same way as English. One comment from someone: I already downloaded and printed all the class notes immediately after the course. Are there many changes, corrections made after the course? Do I have to print it again? There are not many, just a few minor. If we are, for example, yesterday when this person called, one sentence was not very clearly worded, so we worded that clearly just to, so that it was the one word was missing, because of which it was not giving the correct meaning. So I changed it. So in that sense, if whenever I come across any mistake brought by you, then I would make the corrections. There won't be many, but I would suggest you can download and read them, but for printing, wait maybe for a week to 10 days. I hope in that time period, if any of you bring up any mistakes to my attention, we'll correct them. And then many of your comments expressing the gratitude. Thank you so much. It has been a wonderful, even though it has been very intense journey for me, but it was quite amazing in many ways. I really enjoyed this experience of teaching online, and that to such a huge class. Okay, some of you are asking the information about donation. So what I'll do, I'll send out an email after the class. I'll I'll put a survey, so that there is a after the class survey feedback, so you can provide your feedback, and I'll also include a donation link in that email. And one person who actually has also contributed very importantly, and I forgot to mention his name earlier, but the class videos. So you see all these video recordings in the repository. So we have Matt Baba here, who has edited all these videos and put together here, so that you don't have to go through those silent portions and wait for 15 minutes for those exercises. He has cut those. So very important work, because of which you have all these videos available here in the repository. So earlier I had forgotten to mention his name, but his contribution has been very important for making this course very effective, this class video folder. So, there is a comment from someone: please convey my thanks to Amit Baba, and I am sending another imaginary gold medal to him. So thank you for all your appreciative comments. Today we haven't covered any particular topic for exercise, but I have prepared a class exercise, and that is for the Sandhi. So I just wanted to tell you one thing: when you read a verse, how do you start interpreting the verse? How do you start getting to the meaning of the verse? So first step is you have to know the spirit of the Sandhi. And as I already told you, Sandhi rules, what we have studied so far in the class, they have already covered 90% plus. I would say like 95%. You would be quite okay in like 95% of the scenarios to cover those Sandhi scenario, Sandhi rules. But rules, of course, are great when you are doing the Sandhi, like when you are joining two words together. When you are splitting, rules only provide you some guidance. Rules cannot help you too much in splitting the sandhi. For that, the vocabulary, the knowledge of other grammar structures is must. And slowly, slowly, you start building your skills in how to split the words. So for today, I have put together this exercise for splitting the words. I have marked here that how do you split the words. And I would suggest that you do this exercise for the now. We will meet maybe after 10 minutes. So I have highlighted those portions where the sandhi is taking place and you have to do the split. These are relatively easy cases. We'll discuss it after the class, the solution, but try to do it on your own and get into the, so I'm preparing a sort of document for you that how can you continue your studies after this course. Of course, those who are planning to take level 2 course, they will have the opportunity. Those who may not be able to, they can still continue their studies. And first step is you read the verse in Devanagari, only Devanagari, and try to write it yourself. So do like one verse a day. Take a chapter of Gita's, first chapter say, or second chapter. You have all the files. Read one verse. Whatever you understand, just try to do transliteration yourself. That will help you to learn Devanagari quickly. And then you match with the transliteration of the text and see where you made the mistake. Next step is do the sandhi, split yourself. And then again check back. Remember, I showed you all the resources. So you have the splits of all the Gita verses. Check again that where the mistakes are. And then see which rules did you apply. And then I'll show you further after the break that how to further analyze the verse. So there is a methodology. How do you go about analyzing a verse? How do you try to understand a verse in Sanskrit? So we'll discuss that part after the class. So it's 9:48. We'll gather again in 10 minutes. I'm turning off my audio for now. Thank you. So I hope that many of you got it correctly. So this Sanjay Uvacha, as you know, this is a Visarga Sandhi. It is Sanjayah plus Uvacha. So we know the rule of Visarga Sandhi. If it is the Akara is the letter previous and there is another vowel which is following it, following the Visarga, then Visarga gets dropped and the two words are written separately. Then Tam Tatha, this is an example where Makara, if it is followed by a consonant, then it becomes Anuswara. So that is the Tam Tatha. In consonant Sandhi, we saw that. If Makara is followed by a consonant, it becomes an Anuswara and two words remain separate. Then Kripaya Vishtam. This word looks like a huge word, but again, as I said, the focus has to be only where the Sandhi is taking place. And you can just focus on that part alone. In order to know where it has to focus, you have to know the underlying words and the grammatical forms. So here is Krupaya Avishtam. So the word here is actually Krupaya Avishtam. Then Ashrupurna. Here actually the word is Ashrupurna plus. So Akara plus, here Akara plus Akara becomes Akara. That is the Dirgha Sandhi in vowel, if you remember. And here it is Akara, Shorta, Ashrupurna, Akula, and this one becomes Akara plus Ikara becomes Ekara. So that's how it becomes. Krupaya Avishtam Ashrupurna Akula Ikshanam. This looks like a very long and very complicated word, but once you understand the Sandhi rules, it becomes quite easy to understand. So that's how the Sandhi is. So if you remember, this Sandhi was Dirgha Sandhi. I'll just show you the chart quickly, so that just to jog your memory. Here, Dirgha Sandhi, it says two similar vowels result into one long vowel. Akara plus Akara, whether short or long, will result into Akara. So here we have, in this case, both are long and it results into long Akara. And here both, one is short, one is long, resulting into Akara. And then we have Akara plus Ikara becomes Ekara, Guna Sandhi. Akara plus Ikara becomes Ekara. So, Ashrupurna Kulekshanam. Then this one, is simply, it has come together. There is actually no Sandhi except that the words have been joined together. So just that Vishidantam Idam. Makara is followed by a vowel, so it will not become Anuswara, but the two words become coalesce into one word. Same here, Vakyam Uvacha. Vakyam Uvacha. Then Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. It is also the same actually. So a consonant is followed by a vowel. Vowel is following a consonant. Then they become, so sometimes there is a change in the consonant and sometimes there is no change and they come together, become one word. Kashmalam Idam. This one is the same as Vakyam Vavacha. Kashmalam Idam. This all, now look at, this is one word, looks very daunting. If you are just looking at, you do not know how to make any sense out of it. But once you understand that there is a Sandhi actually in place, then it starts making a lot of sense and it starts looking easier. So here, Anarya Jushtam, Makara plus Akara, they no change, but the words come together. Same here, Aswargyam. You see, now the words, once you have Sandhi split, you start seeing that actually same sandhi is here. So just because of this simple sandhi, it all became as one word. But the sandhi is all these places, it's the same sandhi and pretty simple. Now the words look much better, and you can see aswargyam, akirtikaram. They look like the accusative singular, which is what it is, accusative singular. Then klaibyam ma. So this is the sandhi we already discussed. As you see, the same kind of sandhi rules are repeated many times. And once you get a little bit of a practice with them, it will be pretty quick for you to figure out. So klaibya ma, makara, followed by a consonant, becomes anuswara. This one. So here, I, nai tat. So this is actually nakara plus etat. So if you remember, akara plus ekara from our vowel table, it becomes vruddhi sandhi. Akara plus ekara becomes aikara. Akara plus ekara becomes aikara, naitat. It becomes naitat. This is actually just two words coming together, and there is technically no sandhi, but they become together. They be coalesced together. So etat twai. And here, this one is that famous yan sandhi, which some of you found it difficult. So ekara becomes yakara when it is followed by a vowel. So twai plus upapadyate. So now you see the word starts looking so easy. Na etat twai upapadyate. Similarly here, when you see anuswara, it becomes just, it is followed by a consonant, so it's a makara actually. This also is makara. Here tyaktottishtha. This one is again a guna sandhi. Akara plus ukara. Here guna sandhi, akara plus ukara becomes okara. So it may seem to you that it is actually more difficult to split the words, and it is to split the words than to join. But once you have the underlying knowledge of the vocabulary, grammatical structure of nouns and verbal forms, it becomes so easy that you don't even have to think twice. You just read the verse, even if it's a completely new verse, and immediately it will occur to you that where the sandhi is taking place, how to split. You don't have to consciously think of rules. You don't have to. So through practice that happens. That just by reading a verse, even first time, you would kind of get an idea, oh, these are the places where sandhi, and these are the individual words. So it's not so difficult to get that proficient. It's quite simple, but you have to build up your vocabulary as well as the knowledge of grammatical structures. Sandhi rules would help, but they are only a very small part of the whole thing. Now I told you a little bit about the word order in one of the class. So the word order in Sanskrit is subject followed by object followed by verb. Unlike in English where subject, verb, object. So English we say Rama goes to school. Rama is the subject, verb is the object. So in English, so this is Sanskrit. If in English, if you look at, in English it will become, object will come later. So it will come Rama goes to school. Rama goes to the school. Subject, Rama goes verb to the school object. Here the same sentence would be in Sanskrit, Ramaha Vidyalayam Gachati. Ramaha subject, Vidyalayam means to the school, object, verb Gachati. That is the general pattern in Sanskrit. Of course, as I told you, Sanskrit is a flexible word order language. People can change this word order and meaning will not change. And many times people do, but this is more or less people observe when they write the prose, not the poetry. When they write the prose, when they write the textual things, then this word order is more or less preserved. I also told you that the other cases will come between subject and object. That is just a preference. That is not a convention. So there you will find a lot of variations. Some people would like to make the sentences where other cases will come between subject and object, and in some cases it will not. So consider this as more convention, like more strictly followed, so to speak, this order subject object verb. The other cases coming between subject and object, that is more of a preference. Okay, so just wanted to let you know. In Sanskrit, somehow, because most of the literature has been in the poetry, there has never been a huge attention paid to the word order of syntax, what we call in English the syntax, that how the words are placed after each other. That has never been a huge concern in Sanskrit. There, I told you, there are some words, particularly in declinables, where that matters. But most of the times when we are dealing with the nominals and the verbal forms, that doesn't matter so much. But this is still the generally observed. And those of you who know Hindi, or probably other Indian languages also, I'm not sure, but Hindi word order is very similar to Sanskrit word order. So if you know any of the, you can easily guess what the Sanskrit word order would be. You can just try to frame how will you say that sentence in Hindi. I guess other Indian languages would probably have the same syntax, and then accordingly you can make the Sanskrit sentence. There is one exception here to the free word order, even among nominals and verbal, and that is sixth case, genitive case. So I'll just pull up the table of genitive case. Rama table. So if you remember, Ramasya, that is the genitive case. That means of Rama or Ramas. So it is like trying to qualify another nominal or another nominal form. So Rama, what of Rama? Like if I say, for example, I am going to school, then that is a complete sentence. I'm going to the school. But if I say I'm off school, then something will come. What is off school? Like I'm going to the library of school, I'm going to the classroom. So sixth case always qualifies another case. Doesn't have to be the same nominal. It could be another nominal. So if I say I'm going to the school by vehicle, but if I say by Rama's vehicle. So if I say by Rama's vehicle, that is Ramasya, this form has to appear before that vehicle form, Ramasya Vahanena. So in sixth case, when you are using the sixth case, you have to ensure that you put it before the noun it qualifies, because it is not used independently. Unlike other cases, which can be used independently, like they do not qualify another case, this one is to be used with, because it qualifies another case, that's why it has to be put before the case it qualifies. So I have updated this part in the notes of that class, and that is an advantage of notes, that if I do not mention something explicitly in the class or it's not so clear, I can always modify the notes to make that point clear. Now I was telling you about how to interpret the verse in Sanskrit. So first step is, so let's say this is the verse. first verse of Bhagavad Gita. Dhritarashtra uvacha dharma kshetre kurukshetre samaveta yuyutsavaha mamaka pandavaschaiva kimakuruvata sanjaya. How do I go about? So first thing is split the words. Sandhi, split the sandhi. So this is the list I have done, splitting the sandhi. Okay. Then next step is identify the nominal and verbal forms. So noun, when it is a noun, Dhritarashtra, what case it is? It is a nominative case. What number? Singular number. Gender, masculine. Base, Dhritarashtra. What is its meaning? It's a noun, proper noun. It's the name of a person. Like this, you basically create the table for all the words. So for the verb, ubacha, what is it? It's a past tense verb. We haven't studied this particular lakara, this tense, but just to let you know. Third person, singular, parasmaipadi, vaj, means to speak. So it's a third person, singular, past tense. The root means to speak, means he spoke. Dhritarashtra spoke. That's what it would mean. So in Sanskrit, you will not find this word in dictionary, uvacha. You will find vach. And that's where the knowledge of grammar actually becomes very important in order to refer to a Sanskrit dictionary. There are some sites which actually put this form also, but they are more like user contribution sites. I'm not very sure about the accuracy of those sites. And some forms you might receive. If you go to that website which I showed you earlier that has a lot of Sanskrit resource, that has how do you parse? So this website here, it has some engines. It is all automatic, so most of the times it will be correct, sometimes it may not be correct. But there was this website. For generation and analysis of various Sanskrit structures, including verbal and nominal forms. I will not go there right now. We don't have a lot of time, but you can visit this website. It has an engine which can parse the forms and tell you what the root and what the tense is. May be helpful, but ultimately you have to gather this knowledge yourself. Similarly, dharma kshetre, it is a locative, it is a noun, nominal form. It's a locative case. It's a number, is singular, masculine. Dharma kshetra means field of dharma. If it's a locative, singular, what would it mean? In the field of dharma. That's what it would mean. So the meaning would become clear to you. These are the base words. These are the ones you can find in dictionary. And then the meaning would become clear to you. So like that, you would analyze all the words. And then indeclinables. These are the two indeclinables. And there is another verb. So remember, one verb, one sentence. So this is one sentence, Dhritarashtra uvacha. Then the whole thing is another sentence because we have one verb form. Akurvata. Akurvata is the past form, lung. We studied that lakara, lung lakara. It's a atmanipadi. It's a third person, plural. Kru. It's the root is kru. Means to do. We already saw this root, very popular. So if you've seen the table of that root, I told you that the table is there. We have already put it on our repository, kru dhatu. And you don't have to memorize this, but it's good for reference. You kind of get a feeling that which structures are where. And akurvata, this is where it's coming from. Lang lakara, third person, plural, atmanipadi. Then what would be the meaning of this word? Third person, plural, they did. So they did. It's a past tense. They did. And because it has a question mark, Kim, which apparently I have forgotten to include here in this list, I'll include it and then post this list into the Kim means what? What did they do? So I'll post this file into our repository. So you have an idea that how to analyze a verse. When we do our scripture class in the level 2, by the way, scripture class would be open for all. So it's not just for level 2 students. For level 2 students, it would be a mandatory class. It's a part of the course. But because it's a scripture class, it is open for all, whether even for those who have not attended Sanskrit course at all. They may find some details overwhelming, but my idea is to actually discuss some of the verses in this fashion. May not be in the same detail, but at least you will get an idea that how to understand a verse. And then if you look at here, when the case is similar, the two are locative, singular, masculine, most likely they are just describing the same thing. They are adjective to the noun. Because if you remember, I told you adjective would be matching noun in case, number, and gender. Whenever you see this kind of thing in one sentence, very good chance that they are describing the same thing. They are noun and adjective relationship. Similarly here, nominative, plural, masculine, all four, they are describing the same people. Assembled, desirous of war, my sons and Pandu's sons. So my sons and Pandu's sons who assembled in the field of dharma, which is also the field of Kuru, who were desirous of war, what did they indeed do? That's what it would mean. So the meaning starts becoming so clear actually once you have this structure in place. And one website which I shared with you earlier, the Gita resource, the Gita grammatical analysis, it actually does that for every verse for you, the same kind of analysis, what I have done here. So you can try to do it first yourself, and then you can check it in this website, whether that analysis, to what extent is that correct. So just wanted to give you a feeling how to interpret a verse. I know that we aren't there yet that you can independently analyze a verse, but consider that this is just a beginner's course. This is a huge achievement that you are even able to follow a verse how it is actually analyzed. It's not a small thing. In India, if you talk to people who have studied Sanskrit for 4 years, they will not have an idea how to do this verse in this manner. I mean, on an average, of course, some of them would be bright enough to know, but on an average, you will find the students who have studied Sanskrit for 4 years will not know how to interpret this verse of Gita in this fashion actually. So this is the fact that you at least understand that those cases, and okay, you may not be able to produce the whole table right now, primarily because you may not have that much vocabulary and experience. But the idea that you can understand this, that itself is a huge thing, considering that we have this kind of output just after beginner's course. So regarding the level 2 course, because there were some questions, so I already provided the details of Devanagari. We'll announce the course later. We'll send out an email, separate email for registration for that course. Actually, there would be, you can say, 2 courses, one for scriptures, which is open to everybody, and then one for level 2, which would be open for those who have done the level 1 course and have known Devanagari. For level 2 course people, of course, both the classes are part of the course, but the scripture class is open for all. Now, regarding the scripture class, I would like some volunteer to prepare the text. I have still not decided. I have 2 texts in mind. One is Ramayanam, Valmiki Ramayanam, and another is 1 chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So I need some volunteers. If you have time, the volunteers, I need the help in formatting, typing, and proofreading so that we can prepare those texts for the class. So if you are comfortable in typing on computer and Devanagari, and you have time to put some effort, I would please send me the message or email, and I would like your help to prepare those class texts so that we can distribute those class texts. And if we prepare ourselves, we will not have any copyright issues. There are other places on the web where you can get those things, but if we do it ourselves, we can put it in the format in which we desire, first of all. Secondly, we don't have the copyright issues. So I have an idea of the text. It's not like a huge text. One text is only 100 verses, the Ramayanam. The summary of it's called Sankshepa Ramayanam. And another is Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, which is 72 verses. So these are pretty small texts, not a huge text, but still it will take time to put it into the proper format, both fonts, Devanagari and transliteration. And by the way, Devanagari is not mandatory for the scripture course. For the scripture part, we will also use the transliteration. So there are a lot of things I thought I would share with you in Sanskrit, but always I feel that there are so many things to talk about, and we are then at the end of the class. But anyway, I'm very thankful to you. It has been a great journey for me for these last 5 weeks. It has been extremely busy. I have never had this kind of busyness for teaching a course, but eventually looking at the output, looking at so many of you could take advantage. I see so many messages from you expressing the thanks and gratitude, and my gratitude to you. Thank you so much for staying together with this course. It is a great thing that so many of you are interested, and I have received some phone calls, people expressing their sincere gratitude. Some of you are in 70s and you have so much enthusiasm for learning. It's just very touching for me to see. And this knowledge is considered very sacred in India. There is a verse in Bhagavad Gita, Nahi jnanena sadrusham pavitram iha vidyate. There is nothing as purifying as knowledge. Knowledge is the most purifying thing of anything. That verse refers to the self-knowledge. But in India, any knowledge is considered sacred, and particularly Sanskrit, because that is the language in which all the scriptures are written. It's considered especially sacred. If you go in India and people know that you know Sanskrit, it's not very practically useful. Like as I said, there is no community of people where you will go and you are required to speak Sanskrit. Unlike, say, for example, if I learn Portuguese, then I would be quite at home in Brazil. Sanskrit is considered very elite, actually. So if you know Sanskrit, that means you must have made an effort to learn that language. It will not just happen automatically. And it is considered a big thing, actually. And particularly if you are from the West and you know Sanskrit, people would look at you with wonder in India, with a wonder and respect, actually. So pretty amazing that you all have so much thirst for this knowledge of the divine language. I'm very happy to see that. Those of you who can join the level 2 course will see there. You can always attend the scripture class. We will discuss some aspects of Sanskrit grammar, and we will discuss the meanings, of course, and some commentary on those verses. The schedule and other things, as I said, I'll send it out later on whenever we decide on the date. If you have, those of you who have already sent the emails showing an interest in level 2 class, we'll make sure that your emails are included in the list when we send out. But if you have not sent your email yet, please send, indicating your name and the place where you are from, like, so that we know the time zone, and which 2 days would be beneficial for which 2 days would be more suitable for you. We'll try to take a sample that whatever the suitable for most number of people, will use our classes accordingly. So with this, we'll chant the closing prayers. And yes, we'll have this extra class on May 11th. So I'll see you all on hopefully May 11th, Monday. Try to solve all the exercises in the meantime and gather the questions. by the way, I forgot to discuss the class home exercise. So I have prepared a lot of home exercise for you because today is the last class. So you are not expected to submit tomorrow or something. Take your time, solve these exercises. This is for splitting the sandhi. So just like we did in the class, based upon all the rules you have studied, these are splitting the sandhis. So wherever there is a asterisk mark, there are more than 2 component words. So there are a lot of examples. It's a very beautiful. If you go through this and you are comfortable doing the splits here, you will feel very comfortable in your sandhi thing. We'll post the solutions later on. This is one exercise. Second exercise is chapter 15, lesson 15 from Thomas Egenes' book. Please also read these pages. These are in the 16th, 17th, 18th chapter. We have already covered them in part. These are the sandhi rules. So please read them also. But as far as exercise is concerned, that is only for lesson 15. And we have provided you this Devanagari and transliteration here because these exercises are only in Devanagari. Then exercise 43 for home. This is, I am asking you to do first 20 verses of second chapter from Gita, verse 21 to 220. So in the very similar format which I showed you in the Excel, you can always check your results with this website. I have provided the link which shows all the grammatical analysis of Gita. Do the nominal forms. You have already done these exercises, but in part. And then verbal forms. So you have already done these kind of exercise. I just want you to do it for 20 verses of Gita. It will take time. And the reason I'm asking you to do a lot of homework is precisely because today is the last class and you can continue doing it for a few days from now. And then there is another one, which is you don't have to submit any solutions for this exercise. This is just for your practice and learning. So there is a link where I found a few more sentences for practicing. So just practice those. And that will help you a little bit more. These are very simple sentences, but because I found a ready-made exercise on the web, I thought I'll share the link with you. Then I'll put together another exercise for home. No solutions have to be submitted. It is more for your continuing education. Like what steps do you need to take? I already discussed in the class, but I'll put that also together as an exercise so that you know what all steps you are to take. And keep sending your questions and exercise solutions to our email address. I'll gather all those questions, and in May 11th, when we have this extra class, I'll discuss all those questions with you. Class will happen at the same time, 9 o'clock US Eastern Time. We'll have the closing prayers. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, everybody.